Hello, welcome to another episode of the Hangry Mexican. I'm very excited about my guests today. Now in its 95th year, Old Spanish Days Fiesta is unique among festivals because it's run by a volunteer board of directors and supported by only one full-time staff member. The board of directors annually elects a president, or presidente as we like to say in Spanish, who presides over the board and serves as the general manager of that organization. In 2019, Barbara Carroll is La Presidente. She is our guest. And just to tell you a little bit about Old Spanish Days Fiesta and what it is, grew up living, breathing fiesta in Santa Barbara. It's a time when the whole town or the whole city parties, basically. Old Spanish Days Fiesta will take place in various locations around the city starting July 31st through August 4th. Fiesta was first held in 1924 and celebrates a period of romance and hospitality through pageantry, dance, music, costume, and food. So we're going to talk a little bit about all those topics in this episode. We also have the 2019 Spirit of Fiesta, Sophia, Cordero, and the 2019 Junior Spirit, Paloma, Valenzuela, that join us on this podcast, on this episode today. Now, Sophia won the title of Spirit of Fiesta by competing among 10 other dancers. She has been participating in Old Spanish Days Fiesta since she was 2 years old. She's an AP honors student at Santa Barbara High School, where she is in ASB leadership as well as Varsity Cheer. Paloma was chosen among 9 other performers to represent the Santa Barbara community as the 2019 Junior Spirit of Fiesta. Paloma started dancing at 2.5 years old, believe it or not. She is currently in 4th grade at Foothill Elementary School and spends time raising funds for the Teddy Bear Cancer Foundation. I'm just delighted to have all 3 of these guests on this podcast. So let's get started. Old Spanish Days Fiesta, viva la fiesta. DJ, roll that music. And you're now this year's 2019 La Presidente.
Yes, I am.
Talk to me about the road to get to the Presidente.
Do you want to know like the board mechanics or like how long I've been involved?
Both, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I actually started volunteering with Old Spanish Days. I was a flower girl when I was a child back in the 70s. And then I first volunteered as a community volunteer in 1986. When my aunt was involved, she got me involved helping with parade announcers. And then I was asked to join the board in 2006. And I came on as an associate board member at that time. And I got all the glamorous jobs like porta potties and trash. But when you do those kinds of assignments, you work with all the different venues. So I really got to know what was going on, and I loved it. So I kept going. I have been on the executive committee for 10 years, and I've just worked in all of the different positions. I've worked at basically all of the venues in one capacity or another. I haven't been in charge of them all, but I've helped out or worked there in some capacity. And I've been involved in management of the organization for 10 years, one way or another. And to become president of Old Spanish Days, because we are a board of volunteers, we try to keep some consistency in upper management. So it's actually a 3-year progression to take on the role of president. So we serve 1-year terms. And so you have to run for the position of second vice president. And after you serve that term, if you're still willing to serve, then you move on and take on the role of first VP the following year. And at the conclusion of that year, you automatically become presidente.
Wow.
So you're making a huge commitment when you want to be president. You're committing to running this corporation in your spare time for years. Yeah, it's a big deal.
Exactly, because you have your daytime or your full-time job.
Yes.
The one that pays
Hopefully.
pays the bills. And so to tackle the Old Spanish Days, which is, I mean, it's blown up since it first started, I guess. It seems like it grows every year. So it just a lot. It seems like you just take on a lot more responsibilities each year, especially as you climb up the ladder to become, the top dog, if you will.
Yeah, you
Presidente. So how do you manage your regular day job with your full responsibilities as La Presidente?
It's a challenge. It's definitely a challenge, and it would be for anyone. And everybody tackles it a little bit differently. I have flexibility thanks to my employers, Clink & Beard, Ramsey, Spackman & Clark, LLP. And they've given me the flexibility to be able to do that. But without that, I wouldn't be able to, because it's not necessarily a full-time job 12 months of the year, but being president of we have $1.5 million budget for Fiesta, and that's not something you phone in. You have to be present and you have to be available regularly. There's all the government meetings, there's all the planning, all the preparation, overseeing all of the moving parts, and then you have to bring it all together. Plus, you have to run the business of Old Spanish Days, not just the events that we put on. So it's a big commitment, and you need support and you need help. Some of the presidents have done it because they have staff where they work, and everybody's serving for Old Spanish Days, whether they actually do or not. And other people have big families that help them every step of the way. But everybody needs some flexibility from their day job as well.
Wow. So do you sometimes get those late night calls when it's like 3 a.m. and somebody calls, hey, I think we're missing something in the Old Spanish Days or something like that?
I don't get calls at 3 a.m. for Old Spanish Days anymore. I might get emails and text messages, but no phone calls anymore. But it's very much this, and this is one of the areas where it's a challenge to manage your time, is because Old Spanish Days has to do its business when everybody else is. So I'm at my day job and Old Spanish Days is running, and I kind of have to be in two places at once sometimes.
Wow.
So do you have an assistant to help you through this whole La Presidente experience, or how does anyone help you? Who else helps you?
A lot of people help. And everybody does their part. Our office staff is a huge help. We have one full-time employee, Kim Gutierrez, who's our office manager, and she works year round. And we've brought in 2 seasonal staff for the summer to support the Mercado position, because we have the 3 Mercado events that happen during Fiesta, and then another one that supports the parade, because there are a bajillion and one moving parts for the parade, and then they also back up the office position, and so they provide a lot of support in terms of Old Spanish Days. And of course, I have an assistant at my day job who helps keeps me organized and moving forward, and then I have family and friends who support me. I've developed very close friendships with people on our board, including amongst our past presidents, and they're all very supportive and helpful.
So for anybody listening to this podcast right now, so I have Claire here sitting next to me. We're sharing a microphone. We're waiting on this year's Spirit and Junior Spirit to join us, and they have their own microphones. So we're all having a good old chat here, but that's what's happening. So if you hear Claire speak in a lower voice, it's just she's sitting a little further away from me. But anyway, back to the conversation. So do you find it easier to be in the position of La Presidente versus any of the other positions that you've done throughout the years in the Old Spanish Days organization?
I'm not sure yet. I've never been somebody who wanted to be front and center, have all the cameras trained on me. That's not something I'm terribly comfortable with necessarily. I'm fine standing up and speaking in front of 10,000 people, but I don't feel the need to be there, and I feel my strengths are more logistics. But I haven't done too much, but I'm having a really great time doing it. So it is very fun. It's definitely a very fun thing to be Presidenta of Old Spanish Days Fiesta.
What's like that one thing that you're really looking forward to as La Presidente?
So my favorite thing in Fiesta is the parade, and it has been since I was a child. I'm born and raised Santa Barbara. I've been going to the parade my entire life. My dad took us. It was his thing to take us to the Fiesta parade. And some of my earliest memories are being sunburned and hot at the Fiesta parade and probably having a fit, but I don't remember that part. That's not the way I remember it. But I love our parade. And so I'm super excited to be in the parade this year. I've actually have been taking riding lessons since last September with Amber Georgie and Anna Weiss at Nahoe Horse Ranch. And I feel confident and ready. And hopefully I'm not going to turn myself into a liar with my performance parade day, but I'm super excited about being in the parade. That's one thing about working on Old Spanish Days is that you're working the events. You're not necessarily being present and enjoying them. And that's been the biggest difference for me so far is my job this year is to be present at the party or at the event and mingling with our guests and making sure that everybody's having a great time, but not working behind the scenes to ensure that they are. And it's a different role, but it's very fun. And the whole year so far has been great.
Wow. Okay, so let's talk about your coming in. Now we have the Spirit and Junior Spirit of this year's Old Spanish Days Fiesta joining us.
Hi, my name is Sophia Cordero, and I have the honor of being the Spirit of Fiesta 2019.
Hello, my name is Paloma Valenzuela, and I have the honor of being the 2019 Junior Spirit of Fiesta.
And Paloma, you and I and my wife here share something in common. We know your mom.
Oh, wow.
Let's just talk a little bit about how you two are feeling with this year's fiesta. Have you gotten, we were just talking with La Presidente saying that she has to be present at all these events.
Yes.
You have a lot of events to attend to and rehearsals and everything.
Yes, definitely.
Talk to me a little bit about that experience. So we'll start with you and then we'll...
I'm filled with a lot of excitement, really. I'm really excited to be performing with Paloma this year and going to each event, performance after performance, and definitely dancing with my company as well.
I also have a lot of excitement and also dancing with my spirit, Sophia. And I just love going place to place dancing because it's just been such a great time dancing since I was 2 years old. So
had you two known each other before winning the...
Yes, we both go to the same studios, Romano Dance Academy. And so I actually was her teacher a couple years ago, which is really cool. But yes, so we knew each other. And I also know a couple of her sisters too.
How was she as a teacher?
She was really little. I don't think she remembers.
It's how you just keep your stamina up with all the dancing you have to do, and you have to look beautiful all the time. Like even La Presidente too. Like how do you keep all your hair in the right place and makeup on, just and all your energy for all the events you have to go through?
I think being in the studio, our instructor Daniela really is hard on us about being hard. It's a lot of footwork, so your legs are the ones that give out a lot and your arms get super tired, but I think practicing a lot is what helps us. And with the makeup and hair situation, we get ready. Our makeup may sweat off a little bit, but our hair, we hairspray it, put gel in it, and try to bobby pin it as best as we can.
Yeah, so you have to put in hard work to just practice a lot and give your heart out every time you practice, and also like doing the hair and the makeup. We do sweat a little bit and it comes off, but it's kind of fun putting on my makeup and doing my hair. So,
what about you, Barbara?
Well, those two are beautiful, so they don't need anything to look gorgeous at everything that they do. And I just let my hair do what my hair is going to do, because with the humidity we have in the summer, it's not going to do what I want anyway. So just kind of go with it. And but they're right. The training is what makes a difference. I work out hard because otherwise you can't make it through 3 weeks nonstop, from dawn till way past dusk. So yeah, a lot of cardio.
That week of Fiesta is really long, but it's really fun. I think your stamina is what gets you through the whole long week.
That is definitely true.
Yes.
Because I've done it when I haven't been working out, and the difference that a regular cardio routine makes is huge.
Definitely.
And I'm also curious about how you've started planning your clothing for the weeks of Fiesta. Like since when it's a female Presidente of Fiesta, I'm always looking forward to what they're going to wear, and of course what the spirits are going to wear on opening night, the white dresses. So, what's your dress planning process like for Fiesta?
You want to go first, Sophia?
Sure. So basically the dress process planning for everything is we both design our own dresses with our instructor, and our parents, our moms as well, give ideas. You look up ideas to try to figure things out, but you also have to realize that you have to be able to move and dance, so it's not always about like how fit it is. You have to be able to bend your legs and everything. But yeah, it's super fun. We go down to LA and we get a bunch of different fabrics, colored fabrics, white fabrics, which is honestly one of the funnest parts I think so far. It was really fun going down with Paloma and Daniela. But yeah, we design our dresses with our parents and Daniela, and then take it to our seamstress, and then slowly the process starts to build and our dresses get made.
And just like she said, all those things are right. And also we go to LA. We went to LA together like a couple weeks ago. It was really fun. That was my first time going because I haven't been. And just you have to plan what you want your dress to look like with your mom, your parents, especially my instructor, and it's just really fun.
I have a little bit of a different process. I work with a woman named Condi Cruz, who's extremely talented and creative, and I can just tell her I want something that's sort of lightweight and flowy, and what colors look good on me, and she makes something for me. And other things, I see pictures like on Pinterest, and I want this top with this bottom, or I really love this, and she just makes it happen for me. I have gone down to LA with her. I did that last year to pick fabrics, and it's amazing.
It's overwhelming. It's so
just
overwhelming.
Like blocks of fabric
stores.
Wow. It is amazing. It was hard to keep track of it all. And so I'm sure Daniela and your seamstress and certainly Condi, they know all the stores, and they've got contacts at all the stores, and so they come up with these amazing patterns and colors, and they just know what to do with them.
About how many dresses are you going to have made?
I haven't counted them up. I have a new dress being made for every one of Old Spanish Days events this year, and then I'll be re-wearing my dresses from prior years at the other events. So I would say I probably have about 12 outfits being made this year, and I probably had about 10 to 12 already.
So do you have a Fiesta closet at home where all your dresses are staged?
I live in a really small condo, so no. But what I do have is one of those like rolling closets that I put them in, and I've had to buy a second one.
That's amazing.
They're really fluffy dresses. Yeah. They take up a lot of room.
Yeah, when Claire and I moved, she had all these Fiesta dresses, and we ended up getting rid of all the other stuff except for the Fiesta dresses. We had to make room for those. No matter what, we had to make room for those. So even now, all of her Fiesta stuff is still intact, but we ended up donating, like old jeans and T-shirts and stuff like that, just to make room for the Fiesta dresses, because she was not willing to give them up, and I didn't want to force her to. It's just that's. I mean, I have to agree with Claire. It's the Fiesta dresses and just the colors and everything. It's amazing, and it's a pleasure to see every single year. I think that's probably what I associate Fiesta with more. It's like all that color. Yeah, I mean, even the guys, I still have like my sash that I got from Melly's and little hat and everything. My shirts.
Yeah. Well, you guys love Fiesta, so it's not like you're never coming again, just because you moved. You're going to continue to do Fiesta, so if you gave it away, you would have just had to replace it. It's a good investment.
Okay, so let's get some fashion tips from the spirits here. So you have a lot of visitors coming to Fiesta, and they always, from out of Santa Barbara. So they always see all these, dresses and shirts and everything, and they want to be part of Fiesta. They want to feel like they're part of Fiesta. So what are some tips for girls or boys too to get in the Fiesta spirit? Yes.
I think it is hot throughout the week, so it's really hard. I don't think they would want to be in these thick dresses all week long. But for girls, throw a flower in your hair. I think they sell them all throughout downtown. And they also have little, pop-up shops throughout in Delgado Plaza. And there's always different kind of shirts for the guys to wear and little dresses that the girls can wear that are Fiesta-themed.
Oh.
Yes, the flower in your hair, probably just like a little skirt. And yeah, they do have some stores that you can just go and get flowers and accessories you can put in your hair to have a Fiesta spirit.
Wow, those are good tips.
And of course, a little confetti is
Yes,
good.
yes.
Yeah.
Dancers have to wait till the end of the week to get confetti in their hair because we can't perform with it. Our dance teacher doesn't really like us to, but if you get a little bit, it's okay. But we technically get to throw it on everyone else first, and then we get it all on us after.
So how do you tell people, don't get me with confetti, or does everyone just know?
I think everyone kind of knows by now. My brother used to be the one who, when I was younger, to put the confetti in my hair, but since I was dancing since I was 2, he's kind of learned, okay, you gotta wait.
Wow, does your brother dance too?
No, my brother is 19 in college now.
Oh, okay. Well, do you have any siblings, either of you, that dance?
Yes, I have 2 siblings. They don't dance, but they used to dance. One's 12 years old, and her name is 13. And one's 17, and she's Bella, and her name is Bella, and she goes to Sophia's school.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, let's talk about the moms, though, because the moms are the ones that have to drive you all over the place,
yes.
right?
And our dads, too.
Yeah. So talk to me about that process, because I'm sure both of you have different experiences. You got mom and dad that have their daytime jobs, and then you have all these events that you have to go to. So how do they manage? How does your family manage to do all that?
Oh my gosh, it's been a journey with my parents, and they've been so supportive. My brother as well, because he's been dragged along to these performances when he was a little boy. But they're really supportive. They work it out. My dad works until about 6 or something, and my mom works at a school, so she gets summer off, and my dad usually takes the week of Fiesta off, so he's able to drive us everywhere. We don't really find parking that easily, so my dad's the one driving. We get kicked out of the car, and he has to go find parking somewhere else. So, but they're awesome. They're the rock of everything.
Yeah, it has been a long journey since I've been dancing, and my family is so supportive with me. And it's just whenever, let's just say I dance and I just don't have lipstick, my sister's all like, I'm coming with you for the lipstick it's just But yes, they have been so supportive, and my mom's the one, and my dad. We just get out of the car, my sisters come with me, and they find parking, and then they come. Yes.
Wow. So who gets to the event earliest out of the 2 of you?
We usually been showing up together, but I would say she's the one. A couple times she would come up before me, but we've been showing up together to most of them. I'll pick her up, or we'll meet somewhere.
Wow.
And it's off and on. Maybe she gets there first, and then I get there first the other event. But yeah, we have been coming together
For most of them, I think.
Is there what is one thing that you've learned about each other through this process of becoming Spirit and Junior Spirit that has made you a better performer or a better person in general?
Wow. Okay, so Paloma is probably one of the most mature 10-year-olds I've ever met. So she has taught me a lot about being more mature, but there's also often the goofy side, and we have fun together. But she carries herself like she is older, which makes me okay, whoa, Sophia, you need to get it together a little bit. But we have a lot of fun together. So I think we have the same personalities, that we know when to have fun and when we have to be more on the mature side.
Yeah, since when she's been my teacher, she has just also inspired me too. And she, whenever she gives me confidence, and whenever she dances, I'm like, I have to be like that. And so, yeah.
Wow. Well, how glad are you to have these 2 ladies in your group this year, in your team?
I feel really lucky that I was able to get these 2. I actually met Paloma when her sister Savannah was trying out for Junior Spirit, and she was just a little thing running around, cutest little thing. But that's when I first started talking with her mom, Chelsea, and getting to know her, and they are a wonderful family. And I knew Sophia when she was trying out for Junior Spirit back in the day, because I was working on the committee. So I've known both of them for a really long time. I mean, kind of from a distance, but the Old Spanish Days community, especially the dance community, is very tight knit. So they're performing around town. I'm watching them. I'm seeing them grow. I'm talking to their parents. We're friends on social media. So I feel really fortunate to have this position and to be able to get closer and develop deeper friendships with them and their families. I think they're both really special kids.
There you go. And this year's theme in particular, I think, embodies a lot of what the Spirit and Junior Spirit have represented over the years, right? What is this year's theme?
The theme is Spirit of Community, and it does bring to mind the Spirit of Fiesta and the Junior Spirit in basically everything. And it brings out all the different aspects of Fiesta, because no matter if dancing's your thing or the parade's your thing or the rodeo, the entire community that does that comes together to make it possible. Fiesta doesn't happen without community support. There'd be no point for it, for one thing. But it would not be possible to even do if the entire community didn't support it.
Now, I know the answer to this question, but for anybody that's listening to this, what is the purpose of having Old Spanish Days Fiesta in Santa Barbara?
I think there are a lot of different purposes. Originally, it was created by local businessmen to bring tourists to the community, because believe it or not, back in the 1920s, Santa Barbara was not a summer destination. It was a winter destination, and they wanted to bring year-round crowds. And so they came up with an idea of having a pageant to celebrate this glamorized understanding of our shared regional history, and the theme of Mi Casa es Su Casa, and the Rancho period, when people would travel and stay at a ranch for days at a time, and the fact that visitors were in town meant that it was a great time to have a party and invite everyone around for miles and miles. And they did that. I mean, that's actually true, and it is romanticized the way that we talk about it and act on it, but we're not trying to recreate that. We're trying to express that feeling where everyone's welcome and everybody gets to participate, and use that as a pageant to show off all the benefits and beauties of our town. And that part of it has continued over the years. And that's what we celebrate each year, is that this is a community for everyone, and there's a way for everybody to participate and enjoy what we have to offer. And that when your family and friends are out there, with these two in particular, they put their hearts on their sleeves and they just dance for the joy of it. If you've ever seen them perform, you know how true that is. And their families and their friends are coming out to support them and seeing that. But that's also true when you're looking at all of the other dancers. It's true when you're looking at all of the youth that participate as flower girls, all of the youth that participate in the rodeo. So no matter what aspect of Fiesta that you belong to or that you are drawn to, there's a community and everybody works hard to make it happen. And we celebrate it together. And that's what Fiesta is these days.
And I think my wife and you share something in common. You were both flower girls.
Yes.
And
I was before her, but yes.
Not at the same time? What?
No. Way before.
Was that your first real introduction to the Old Spanish Days and what would become your a tradition, I guess, into the organization?
As a volunteer, yes. I mean, there are literally pictures of me somewhere screaming my head off as a 2-year-old at the Fiesta parade with the sunburn. But my first experience volunteering with Old Spanish Days was as a flower girl. And as I have said in the past, it's kind of a gateway experience. There's a lot of us who are flower girls, and then we'll go on to be continue as volunteers and hopefully one day join the board and keep the traditions alive.
Wow. What about you two? What were your first introductions? Have you always been dancing, or did you start out in the Old Spanish Days or doing Fiesta with family doing something in particular, volunteering for anything in
I
particular?
started participating in Old Spanish Days Fiesta when I was 2 years old. Ever since then, I've been dancing throughout Fiesta, preparing throughout the years. So dancing has been the only part for me.
Also, I have been dancing when I was 2 and just dancing everywhere. It was really fun, just going everywhere. And the dresses were so tiny, and I still have them.
Yes, they're all stocked in the garage
Yes.
somewhere.
Wow. Well, you two, I think, are dancing for one of the most now I would say prestigious dance academies, because the Zermeño Dance Academy has had Spirit of Fiestas and Junior Spirits in previous years. I mean, they're neck to neck with Linda Vega on how many spirits and junior spirits they produce out of there. So you're familiar with those spirits and junior spirits. Is there something that you've seen them do that you're just kind of really looking forward to during Old Spanish Days? It could be an event, or it could be something that you're just really looking forward to as spirit and junior spirit.
I think looking up to all the past spirits that we've had, and from Zermeño Dance Academy, I'm really close to most of the girls there as well. They're all so inspiring, and they're all so strong and so happy throughout the week of Fiesta. And they all say that, I'm pretty sure most spirits would say that dancing on the mission stage is probably the greatest feeling they've ever had, and walking through those doors. So I'm really looking forward to that feeling and what it's going to be like.
Yeah, just like she said, our dance company has been very great to me and all the other people that have been dancing. And I can't wait to dance on the mission, because just like she said, it's just a great feeling to be dancing on the mission steps.
Not only is there dancing, but it's also the fact that most of our community is there. They're all brought together, and everyone's just watching the bright stage with all the beautiful lights, and then it's nighttime with the stars and the skies and everything. So I think it's the fact that you're dancing on stage and making all these people so happy, and you feel like it's just one of the best feelings. So I'm super excited for that.
Awesome. We cannot wait to see you both dance. I'm wondering if you can drop us any hints or sneak peek of what maybe your dress or dance will be like.
Our dress will be white.
Yeah.
White dresses. I'm not sure if I can give any hints about this dance style. I'm doing an alegría, so I don't know if that's a little hint, but I'm really excited for it.
Yes, white, different colors, and I'm doing a bulería, and so
There's some hints.
Yeah.
We're not giving too
Yeah,
much, but
that's
we're
good
really
enough.
excited.
And then, Barbara, anything new or different about the La Fiesta Pequeña that we can share maybe?
I actually don't know. I have been involved with the mission show for many, many years, and I get to be a guest of honor, and it's going to be a surprise for me. I'm really looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get sneak peeks because I'll be there at the rehearsals, but I haven't wanted to know too much because I want it to unfold, because it is a really special show. You know, we do get anywhere from like 7,000 to 10,000 people showing up live on that lawn. But as you both know, it's broadcast on KEYT. So there are however many other people watching it on TV. I'll certainly be recording it, and so I can watch it afterwards as well. But yeah, there's nothing quite like it, and I didn't want it spoiled. I know that we are going to have a number of dance groups. We're going to have a number of folklorico groups. I think possibly even more folklorico than flamenco this year. We have a number of singers, and it's going to be a beautiful, wonderful show. I know that the committee is very proud of the work that they're doing, and I'm sure it's well deserved because they've been putting in a lot of work to make it a great show.
All right, so a question for the two of you. Who's your biggest cheerleader, mom or dad?
I have to say it's both equal. My dad, being a dance dad, he's been a dance dad since I was 2 years old. So my dad has been coming to all my shows, and he's so supportive. And along with my mom as well, they both, I think, put the same amount of work and the same amount of love and support into what I've been doing. So I have to say they've both been very supportive and both my biggest cheerleaders.
Well, both of my parents have been supportive too, but I would say that my mom is a little bit of a crazy cheerleader, but I really love it, and it's just amazing to hear her cheer me on. It gives me more confidence and also my dad cheering me on too.
So what does your mom do that's a little more crazier than what your dad does?
Well, my dad's, he cheers me on, but he's mostly like silent.
We're quiet.
But more quiet. But my mom's
Like he goes
just
like
like,
he goes like.
he's like, yeah. And we make up a lot of handshakes together. He's like, ooh. But then my mom, she's just like, in a good way, loud, but also,
She's vivacious.
yes, she is. She has energy, she has a lot of energy and just cheers me on so much.
I would say my mom's louder than my dad.
Yeah.
I think both our moms are louder than our dads, but our dads silently are the biggest cheerleaders too.
Yes.
That's awesome. Claire, do you have any other questions you want to ask as a previous flower girl?
Well, there's just so much great community. I love hearing all about how your family is so behind everything that you're doing. And Barbara, all the friends and family support you have and just all the support the president, no matter who the president is, has to get Fiesta done. It's amazing. So if there's anyone listening that's interested in Old Spanish Days, how to get involved, how to start, find out what they're interested in, what are some maybe tips for those people that just want to jump in and don't know where to start?
Start at sbfiesta.org. There is a tab for you to fill out a form to be a volunteer. You can also look at our different events and you can go through the pictures and you can see what Fiesta is all about. You can also follow us on social media. And if there is something you're interested in, we have a need for you. Right now, we're looking for people who can help build and decorate floats. We're looking for people who want to be parade marshals. We're looking, if you can do it, we need it. There isn't anything that we do that we don't need more help with. We do party planning. We need more help with it. We run a parade. We need more help with it. We run a rodeo. We need more help with it. So if you're a horse person, if you're really good at logistics, my name is Barbara Carroll, and I can be reached at president@sbfiesta.org. But we need help with social media. We need help with external relations, which is all of our different marketing. And we need help with merchandising. We need help with Flower Girls, although Flower Girls are booked. So we're not taking any more applications for the kids, but we do need the logistical help with it. And if you can pitch in for an hour or two, we can find something for you to do. That is for sure, for the next 6 weeks.
Wow. Now, have you two girls been in this room before?
I have not. This is my first time being in the conference room.
Oh, how about you?
Yes, this is my first time being in this room. I've been in that room right there, but this is the first time.
Well, I'm glad you said that because it's my first time and it's her first time.
I'm in here all the time.
Yeah, but there's something special about this room. For anybody that's listening to this, obviously they can't see, so we'll just describe what we're seeing here. There's all these portraits of the past presidentes.
Los Presidentes Gallery.
So, Barbara, do you want to say something about just describing the scene here and what each of these paintings or portraits means and what's coming ahead?
So in here, there is a framed portrait of every president of Old Spanish Days. And under their photo is a plaque with their name and the year that they served. They cover 3 walls. We're running out of space. We're going to need a bigger office. You can see all these portraits yourself if you go on to the sbfiesta.org website, because on one of the tabs there is the President's Gallery, and you'll be able to see them all. But from the very beginning all the way, the gallery goes all the way through this year, but on the wall we only go through 2016 because J.C. Gordon's smiling face is the last one. We still have to put up the portraits for Rhonda Henderson and Denise Sanford, and I haven't had mine taken yet, but I will soon. But every single president. So what you're looking at are community leaders and community volunteers and people who gave their heart to this community to make something special happen for the community. That's who's in here looking at us.
Yeah. Who's the earliest president that you remember?
Oh, that I remember.
Yeah.
Personally?
Yeah.
Mr. Danley is the first one I met when I was a kid. And the first one I met when I was volunteering was Bill Luton Jr., because we've had both. But Bill Luton Jr. was the first one that I remember. And then I'm from Mr. Fraker on, I've known them all.
Wow. What are some of the tips that you've received from these past presidentes on, how to be a presidente, fiesta presidente?
Well, the biggest piece of advice that I got on how to be a president was to slow down, because I make decisions pretty quick, and if there are consequences, I just live with them. But they said slow down, don't make decisions quite so fast. But the advice that I've gotten from everyone who's offered some is to take a moment, because it goes by really fast and it's really special, and to just take a moment and look around and enjoy it as it's happening, and don't let it pass in the blur of an eye. So. Yeah, because it will. It's already amazing to me that the 4th of July is this week, and I've been the president since the first week of October. My first events as president were the Christmas parades, and they very slowly unroll. But in the blink of an eye, we've had the Spirit Audition, Primavera, and Fiesta Ranchera, and it feels like it's already mostly over. But that's one thing, and I think the girls can probably speak to this as well. We work at Fiesta all year. I mean, it's something on our mind, and it's something that we're working towards the entire year. We've already started planning 2020 Fiesta. I mean, to be honest with you, with the Spirit Audition comes quick. But summer goes by really fast when you're very focused on 1 week of the year. And you two have been dancing, and you've been doing flamenco your whole lives. I know you both do other styles as well, but that it brings Fiesta up pretty quick every year, doesn't it?
Oh yes, and Fiesta flies by. Like you prepare so long for just this week, 1 week of Fiesta, and you prepare since October until then, and it blink of eye. So you really have to soak up every moment, for sure.
Yes, you do. It flies by so fast.
Well, what are some of the tips that you've received from past spirits and junior spirits that you know?
Definitely from my instructor, Daniela Zermenio. She's been the one that we would have these talks with, and especially all the other past spirits and junior spirits as well, is to soak up every moment. Really, it goes by really fast, and it's a year that you never will forget. It's a year that's so special to you, and it's really special to me because it's been something that I've been working really hard for, so it's to really enjoy everything and make the most of it.
Yes, just to enjoy every moment that you have, because it's going to go by really fast. And to just, whenever you're on stage, have such good confidence and to just be happy.
So how do you do it? Like, how do you soak in the moment? Is there a process that goes through your mind? What do you do?
I think it's just the passion for it. Passion for flamenco, too, is every time I'm on stage dancing flamenco, I just dance from the heart. So that's me soaking up the moment. When I'm dancing on stage and I see all these people, it's just like, it's a breath of fresh air. It's like, wow, like I'm really the Spirit of Fiesta, and I really am going to enjoy this year, and I'm really excited.
Yes, just like whenever you're on the stage, like show how much you love dancing, and just give your heart out to every dance you have.
Wow.
And they both do. They do. It's amazing. I've seen them perform. I'm not sure how many times this year so far. Lots of times. And they're and there's going to be many more. But they're both very they wear their hearts on their sleeves when they perform, and they're both very full of joy. They're very similar in some ways, but they also have some differences, and it comes out in their dancing. They're both just a pleasure to watch.
Wow. That's amazing. Well, take me back to the Spirit auditions. How was that? How did you prepare for that? And what was it like when your name was announced? So we'll start with you. And then
Okay. Preparing for the auditions, it's something you really have to work for. It's a lot of hard work, definitely. I was in the studio a lot with my instructor and a lot on my own time. I would go in when I had the time. I would go in after a class to practice my solo, run through it at least a couple times. But we start preparing around, I would say, October, November. I believe. And then we have obviously the prelims before. And then once you find out when your finals, you work that much harder. No matter what, after you feel you're like, okay, I made it in the finals, you work so much harder to get your dance the way you want it. And it's not even about the dance, it's about the speaking as well, obviously. And so preparing for that, not much preparing, but more just speaking what comes from the heart and dancing what comes from the heart. But once you're there on the day of the audition, at our studio, we do this thing where we all come together in the morning, we eat together, we all get ready together, which is really great, but it's also kind of stressful at the same time. But you want to enjoy everything, so you try to like leave everything back. Once you watch it in the studio, you just have fun with all the girls. And once we show up to the day of the audition at Looking Junior High, it is stressful. You are really nervous, but I think I was mostly filled with excitement because it was my first year trying out for Spirit, and I waited since I was 10 years old to do it again. So when I walked in there, I was like, whoa, this is familiar. Like, I remember this when I was 10 years old, having this 6 a.m. experience. So I think when I stepped on stage, I really just let it all out. I just danced with my heart, and I really enjoyed it.
Yes, just like she said, when you do the prelims and then they give you the letter or they send it an email, and you hear if you made it to finals, you just work 10 times harder than you can, and just you have to go to practices a lot. And my teacher Daniela is just such a great teacher, and she just helps us. And also the day of the tryouts, we go to our studio and we meet with all the girls who are trying out, and we just get ready there, have pancakes and eggs, a little breakfast before, and we just get ready. And I did have, when I walked into the onto the stage, I did have a little nervous, but I was mostly excited and happy to do it. And also when they announced my name, it was just like, I do, but I don't remember it because it was like a blur, because I was just crying so much, and it was just, it went by so fast, and I was just very happy.
Wow.
Agree. Once you hear your name, it's like a blur. It's really a blur. Like, my heart just dropped, and I immediately started crying, and everyone just ran and huddled me. So I think I was like, my heart was beating. I was like trying to breathe too, but it definitely feels like a blur.
Wow.
Their faces were both very shocked.
There's so many events that are going on during Old Spanish Days. We'll go to each and every one of you, and just give me your favorite event, and then your second favorite event. So we'll start over here.
Okay, well, I already told you that I love the parade more than anything. And I'm really looking forward to Pequeña. I love all of our events. I mean, I wouldn't do what I do if I didn't love everything. One thing that I'm going to mention, since you're giving me basically a free microphone,
yes,
is Claire and I were both flower girls. So what we're doing, we're retiring the flower girls name, because we're going to now be Los Niños de las Flores, because we are officially welcoming boys and girls into the program. We've had boys in the program in the past, but it was they just sort of like, we figured it out. But this year they're officially part of the program with an official uniform, and we're going to have 8 little boys. They're not all little, but we're going to have 8 boys participating this year, and they're all siblings of former flower girls. And so it's going to continue to be a family tradition, but it's going to be more inclusive.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so they're wearing these adorable little Guayabera shirts in bright colors. They're super cute. Yeah, and we have 130 flower girls this year, including the Las Señoritas and the boys. So we have 130 niños this year.
Oh, good.
I've got to get used to saying that.
Well, weren't you in Las Señoritas?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was, and I helped start Las Señoritas too.
Yeah, so we're going to continue with the Las Señoritas, and we have flower girls, and we have we're going to have and we're coming up with names for the little boys and then the older boys. So it's all still a work in progress, but we're debuting it this year, and it's officially getting announced at the press conference. So
cool.
But Los Niños de las Flores.
Wow. Love it. And
yeah.
That's our last name too.
There you go.
Even better.
So yeah. So I'm really looking forward. I'm looking forward to seeing that. And if you saw my poster, you'll see that there is actually a little boy in with the flower girls, and nobody's really seen that or thought about it yet, but I knew it was happening. So it's included. Yeah.
So could you describe your poster for us here?
Okay, so it is a classic parade scene in bright, bold, vivid colors. I knew I was going to be president years ago, and I knew that my poster needed to be a reflection of me and what's important to me, and the parade is what's most important. It's why I got involved in the first place, and so I wanted to capture that. So the parade features flower girls and boys, los niños, walking along with their baskets, followed very closely by the Spirit of Fiesta and her court, and followed thereafter by the first equestrian color guard. And it's on State Street, so you can see the flags of State Street. You can see the crowds cheering. None of the photographs of the kids who are involved in this look exactly like this. These have all been altered so that they're not exactly the people who are appearing. Although, if you know them, you can tell who it is. So the dancers are readily in the community are readily able to identify the Spirit in her court, and those who are involved with Los Niños are readily able to identify the kids in the foreground. But the equestrian event, we've completely changed the outfits so nobody knows who they are. But because it's not meant to be anyone in particular, it's meant to be representative of every Fiesta parade.
And then what about the pin? There was a design for that as well. Can you talk about?
Yes, I wanted, if you look at my poster, it has a very modern and yet nostalgic feel to it because I use the old style lettering and the old style banner for Old Spanish Days and Fiesta. And then it's also with the bright, bold colors, and it's a very modern look because it's about 40 or 50 photographs that have been layered and photoshopped and digitally painted. So it's a very modern way to do it with a nostalgic feel. So for the pin, I took the image off our classic poster of the dancing couple, and I had it turned into a pin. So the banner that usually is at the top of the poster, I have it under their feet because the way my brain works, I needed them to have a dance floor. So, and that's where it says Old Spanish Days and Fiesta, and then it's got the roses on the banner, and then they're dancing. But it's the classic dancing couple with the woman in the red dress.
Wow. Yeah, I think that's such an iconic image of
Yes.
the couple.
Everyone, you see it and you think Fiesta. Just like with the poster, you see it. If you've ever been to our parade, you're immediately back there.
Wow. And so people can get this from the website?
Yes, you can, sbfiesta.org. There's a store tab on it, and you can buy it. Or you can come into the Old Spanish Days office located in the Carriage Museum. Or during Fiesta, you'll be able to find it at the Mercados.
Awesome. So for all the tourists coming into town, what would be like the top events or things for them to do to visit while they're in town for Fiesta? Anybody can answer.
Okay, well, I'm going to start, and you guys can chime in. The first thing on Wednesday is go to the Mercados. They're both open at 11, and they'll run all day. And then you can either go to the Rose Garden and watch Fiesta Pequeña, or you can watch it on Channel 3, local Channel 3. Thursday, you should go to the Mercados, and then you should come to Dignatarios or go to the rodeo. You have the professional bull riding happening Thursday night, and if you've not seen that live, it's not something you'll ever forget. It's quite. I don't know if you guys have ever been to the rodeo.
I've never had the time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, yeah. Someday we'll get you there. But it's quite something. And then Friday, you can't miss the parade. I don't think you literally could miss the parade if you tried. If you were anywhere in downtown, you would know that there's a parade going on. But everybody should come to the parade. It's amazing. It's one of the largest equestrian horses parades in the country, and it's beautiful and amazing. And then again, there's dancing all day at the Mercados, and there's music all night at the Mercados. There's one in De La Guerra Plaza. There's one at Mackenzie Park, and it's free entertainment. In the evenings, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, you can go to Noches de Ronda in the Sunken Gardens, and you'll get to see Sophia perform. And if you go on Saturday afternoon, you'll get to see Paloma perform because she'll open Tardes de Ronda in the Sunken Gardens. And then don't forget the children's parade on Saturday, which is one of the cutest things you'll ever see. Yeah. So it's just there's something for everyone, and there's always something to do, and the town is full of free entertainment everywhere.
Yeah. Now, one of the big things here, and it's actually part of the name of this podcast, the Hangry Mexican, is the food. So you get to the mercados. There's all these vendors. Where should people go first? What should people try?
Everything. They should try everything. I think you need to have some of the barbecue corn. I personally will never miss the taquitos because I love them. If you're in the mood for a sandwich, you can get it there. If you're in the mood for a churro, you can get it there, or a snow cone. That's all at Mercado de la Guerra. When I'm at Del Norte, I always get the barbecue tri-tip sandwich.
Oh, what about you two? What's your go-to food at these mercados?
During Fiesta, I don't eat that much. I think being dancer, going from performance to performance, you're kind of not full all the time, but you have the nerves. So definitely. But when I do have the time to sit down and eat, I like the tamales from Guadalupe Church. Not technically from the Mercados or anything, but I love tamales. And they also have those at De La Guerra Plaza and Mackenzie Park. And also the taquitos, so amazing. And I love the snow cones. That's probably my favorite part because it's hot and it's refreshing. So yes.
Yes, at Guadalupe Church, I really love the tacos and the tamales, and also after I dance, a treat is the cotton candy for me. And also at Mackenzie Park, I love the churros and the snow cones.
Wow. What about you, Claire?
Oh, the Fiesta food, everything is so great, but just always looking forward to a taco and tamale is classic for me. And then any of the aguas frescas that they have around are really good.
Since we are talking about the mercados and all the food that you can eat there, I want to do a plug that all of the food vendors at the two mercados are nonprofits, and they either run the kitchen themselves or they partner with the restaurant that donates to the nonprofit. But 100% of the proceeds they make goes to the nonprofit. A couple of the booths partner with Old Spanish Days. So Old Spanish Days is the nonprofit, but most of them are just grassroots organizations. So all of that money is going back to make a direct impact on our community. In past years, we've had a church fundraise for a new roof. We've had a wrestling team fundraise for new safety equipment. So you're making, every time you go out and eat during Fiesta at one of the mercados, you're making a direct impact on somebody's life here in town. You're making it better in some way. And there's about 40 nonprofits that benefit during Old Spanish Days at the two mercados.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I think it's really important work.
Yeah, and it's so easy too. A lot of people don't carry cash on them, but I've always seen that they've had ATM set up conveniently throughout these mercados.
Yes, we do.
Yep. But now here's one thing I've noticed. So just in the last, I would say, a couple of years, I would go to the mercados, and now the vendors, they could have that little square thing
that's starting to happen a little bit more.
Yeah, that or Venmo they go with. It's all right. And it just makes it easier for people to purchase things there. So it wasn't like that back. I don't know, like 10 years ago.
Not even 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of the things. Cox Communications is one of our partners, and they do work with us on getting Wi-Fi at these events. It's not something that we do every year, and to be honest, I'm not sure if we are this year or not. But you do need a strong signal for these transactions to run smoothly, and so that is something that we're aware of. Old Spanish Days is always a little bit behind the times with technology, but we are working on it. We just got Square for the first time this year for merchandise, and so far so good. One event in, and so far so good.
No, yeah, exactly. No, it's all good. I think it's everything's heading in the right direction. And when is Fiesta this year?
July 31st through August 4th are the official dates. But like we said, the costume sale is July 13th, and the Recepción del Presidente is July 28th. It's the last Sunday of July. And that's the Sunday that kicks off Fiesta Week. So we have things going on all the time. If you have another second,
Yes.
another thing I'm going to plug this year that the Pequeña Committee is trying to do, we have the dress rehearsal the day before the show on Tuesday. We're actually going to be giving we already have the seats set up. This year we're going to be giving away tickets to those seats to Fiesta volunteers who are working and can't otherwise make it to attend a show. And then we're also going to be bringing in a couple giving out tickets to a couple senior facilities so that they can be bussed in and watch the show live. It's a lot easier to do something like that when it's still light out, because the show otherwise doesn't start till 8 p.m., but the dress rehearsal's at 6 p.m. And so they'll get to see everything except all the pretty magic at night. And so that's something that we're going to try this year to just make it more inclusive and more available to people who can't otherwise make it.
Wow. So I like to end the podcast with my guest's biggest pet peeves, but I think I'm going to do something a little different today. We'll go one by one, and we'll start here. I would like for you to just mention something positive that you want to leave the community and also anybody that's listening to this podcast with.
Well, I hope that this year Fiesta brings everybody that feeling of mi casa es su casa, so that they do feel the spirit of this community and participate in it and want to keep doing it forever.
I think for me, with all the teenagers and children, obviously adults as well, is that hard work always pays off. Definitely put your mind to it and you can do it.
Hard work does pay off, and just to be confident and just to be happy all during fiestas, to see everybody dance, and for all like the friendships and the great people that come.
Wow. And actually, I want to include you too, Claire, because since you're a big part of Fiesta every year and you were, a volunteer as well. What's your take?
Just enjoy everything and just be friendly and just go out and support all the businesses and nonprofits and just come back to Santa Barbara every year for Fiesta.
Perfect. I want to thank everybody for joining me on this podcast. It was a real pleasure speaking with every single one of you. And viva la fiesta!
Viva!
Thank
Thank you.
My thanks again to Barbara Carroll, the 2019 La Presidente, Sophia Cordero, the 2019 Spirit of Fiesta, and Paloma Valenzuela, the 2019 Junior Spirit of Fiesta. These two ladies have a very bright future ahead of them. As far as for Miss Barbara Carroll, she is enjoying every moment of being La Presidente, as you heard in the podcast. And I can't wait to see what other exciting things she's bringing to the table for this year's Old Spanish Days Fiesta, which again will take place in Santa Barbara, different locations, starting July 31st through August 4th. And for more information on that, again, visit the Old Spanish Days website, which I'll put in the description to this podcast. You can also do a simple Google search for Old Spanish Days, and their website will come up. And you can look at the schedules of events, all the events, a map. You'll definitely get a program that will show you the different locations where all the festivities are happening. All right, well, thanks again for listening. And if you love this episode and the podcast, please go to Apple Podcasts and rate it there. This podcast is available wherever podcasts are. So we're also on Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn. I mean, you name it, it's probably there. And if you have any questions or comments, please send them over to hangrymexicanpodcast@gmail.com. Again, that's hangrymexicanpodcast@gmail.com. I would love to feature some of those comments in future episodes. Thank you again, and until next time, good night and good luck.